Talk about carrier packets and support. So, as I mentioned before, as a dispatcher, you're going to be responsible for completing all carrier packets. Carrier packets will be sent to you in paper form via email, and you're going to have to print those out, fill them out, scan them back, and then send them to the broker or electronic. I like the electronic ones because they're so easy. You can do it from your computer or from your smartphone. Fill it out, send it back. Well, actually, you don't even need to send it back. Once you hit finish, it automatically goes to the broker and you don't have to do anything else. Now, in order to complete carrier packets and provide carrier support, you're going to need a computer, you're going to need a scanner and a printer. You're going to need all of your carrier name information, MC and DOT numbers from their carrier profile. You're going to need their payment information for mailing payments or their banking if they're going to be paid via direct deposit. You're going to always need a copy of their carrier authority and their W-9. What I do is for all carriers, I have a separate file for them electronically and in paper form. And if I have to pull a load for a particular carrier, I can go right to their file and I can say, oh, Joe only wants to haul this amount of weight. This is Joe's equipment. I have his W-9. I have a copy of his authority and I have his insurance. Again, you want to have proof of insurance and you have to do your due diligence and ensure that that insurance certificate is valid. Again, there have been times where carriers have made fake certificates and it will cost you in the long run. So make sure that you're validating everything that they send you. Okay. Again, if the carrier uses a factoring company, you want to make sure that you have all of the factoring company's contact information so that you can get those invoices to them so that your carrier can get paid. As it applies to support, you have to help with load issues. So I'm going to spend a little time here. Okay. And anybody's on this call that's been a dispatcher before, you'll know that there are always going to be issues. It can be something big, it can be something small. Your carrier can get shut down, your carrier can have a blowout or the truck breaks down. They can get to a load, it's the wrong address. They can get there and they have a dispute with someone at the warehouse. That's when you're going to have to step in as the dispatcher. You're going to have to be the go-between between the carrier and the warehouse, the carrier and the broker. You're going to have to, at midnight or at 8 o'clock in the morning, or at 12 noon on a Sunday, you're going to get a call from your carrier. You're going to stop everything and address that issue and make sure that they are okay. Because the primary goal with the carrier is to keep their wheels to the road and you as the dispatcher to keep all and everything else in compliance, keep those invoices being submitted and keep those loads flowing in. And then for you as the dispatcher to form relationships with brokers so that they can get dedicated lanes as well. So again, please be mindful that when it comes to support, this is not an 8 to 5 job. If you are looking for that, dispatching is not going to work for you. I can tell you right now, I dispatch for 3 semi trucks and for 6 box trucks. And I can tell you, I don't get a lot of sleep. I get calls all the time. And I get calls for what I think is things that they could solve themselves, but they know you're there. So they call you to do it. They're going to call you to say, hey, this load delivers at 1 a.m. You look at the paperwork and you're going to be like, it's 1 p.m. You do have time. You have enough hours of service. You can get it there. They don't read. And when I say they, I'm referring to the carriers. They don't read because they rely on you to do everything. So just be mindful that you're going to have to hold their hands. You're going to have to babysit. You are going to have to listen to their personal issues. And you're going to have to walk them through things that you are going to feel like me, like, geez, you should have been able to do this yourself. You're going to have to do it. And your other goal for them is to help them scale their business. If you have a carrier who has 1 truck, your position in his or her life or goal is to help them go from 1 truck to 2 truck, if that's their goal. Help them get that second truck, help them get that second truck on the road and help them get a driver in that truck so that they can start making money off that as well. Because the end result is money. I hate to say it, but the end result is money. The carriers want to make money. You want them to make money. So you in turn make monies. And we all know the brokers want to make money. So again, carrier packets are absolutely vital. You have to take the onus to complete those, paper form or electronic. You do not want your carrier having to pull over, fill out carrier packets so that they can get a load. That's your responsibility. And you want to ensure that you get those to them and timely. Keep in mind that 1 carrier packet is needed per broker. Once you fill it out, you never have to do it again. If you sign a carrier packet with Pepsi Cola back in 2021, you never have to do it again. The only thing you have to do is annually is update the insurance certificate with them. What I did when I first started, I reached out to a number of brokers, and I'll give you the name of those later on in the presentation. And I said, hey, can you send me your carrier packet? And I filled them all out. And I promise you, I had probably 50 at one time. I filled them all out, scanned them, sent them back. That way I knew I was done and I never had to do it again, because you don't want to have to pull a load on the load board. It's a broker you've never booked with before. And now you have to stop. You have to fill out a carrier packet. You have to send it back to them. A lot of times they'll send it to you, but they'll go with another carrier because they're like, oh, they're already set up. I have to wait for you to get set up and go through compliance. And it takes too much time. So take the ownership, fill out those carrier packets, get those carriers set up so you have that out of the way and you don't have to worry about it going forward. Any questions under carrier packets?
We got a couple questions in the chat, Janice. Okay. Hold on. Trying to see them all. We have one that says, insurance is real. How do you verify if insurance is real? When the carrier sends over the insurance certificate to you, just give them a call. You give them the insurance, give the policy number will be on there, and you just want to verify the insurance certificate. And you're going to need to do this anyway, because sometimes some companies require a certificate of insurance as additionally insured. Mm-hmm. So that's another job that is going to be your responsibility in getting. So you need to get familiar with your carrier's insurance point of contact, and also to verify if there is a fee once they reach their monthly maximum. Some insurance companies, maximum is 5 additionally insured certificates of insurance sent out. So you just need to verify that, and you need to convey that to the carrier because they may not know, especially if they're brand new. That's
correct. So if they're telling you they have insurance with Progressive, they're going to send you a certificate from Progressive. Contact Progressive's customer service department, give them the policy number, and they'll let you know right away if it's a valid policy or not.
And they will also let you know, let's say you have a fleet owner that you're dispatching for. They'll let you know how much equipment is on their policy. And they will also give you, if you have the VIN number, which should be on the certificate of insurance, you can verify that as well. Because some carriers are sneaky enough to add their VIN numbers on there, and it's not physically type it on themselves, and it's not actually covered. So you just want to make sure that the trailer is covered.
Correct.
Another question we have from Marlon. The dispatcher is keeping track of their hours of service.
Mm-hmm. They should. They should take that into consideration when they're booking a load and when the driver is on the load. The hour of service is vital. A driver, for those of you who do not know, can only legally drive 14 hours a day. That 14 hours encompasses lunch, breaks, getting fuel, getting loaded, getting to the shipper, driving to the receiver, and getting unloaded. All of that is encompassed in that 14 hours. They cannot go over that 14 hours. It will be a violation, and they have to legally shut down for 10 hours. So when you as a dispatcher are booking loads, you need to factor in that 14-hour window into that load. If you're looking for something going from one state to another, you need to factor in the distance, the amount of time it'll take the driver to get there. All of that needs to be included when you're mapping out their, when you're doing their trip planning. You have to factor in those hours of service.
Kane has a question. What is a factoring company? Janice stated that the factoring company is a financial institution that is going to purchase the invoices of the carrier that's hauling the load so that they can be paid within a quicker amount of time, opposed to waiting the 30, 45, 60, or 90 days Correct. To be paid.
Yeah. We are going to discuss trip planning. Well, Angela's going to discuss trip planning for us.
All right. Trip planning and weather. As a dispatcher and a broker, I keep my TV on the Weather Channel. And the reason being is because you don't know what's going to happen. The weather does impact your driver. So And you need to know what the weather is going to be in every state that your driver is passing through. Therefore, you can go ahead and you can assist with his trip planning, his pickup, and his delivery. You can use Google Maps. You can use the trucker's GPS as resources. Also take into consideration if there's going to be road closures, especially with the fires that they were having in California. You need to take that in consideration. There could be construction. As you know, in Georgia, 75 is always got construction going from Georgia to Tennessee. So you need to be prepared for that. You need to also take in consideration the scales and the tolls. You have many, many tolls if you're traveling up north, especially to New York and New Jersey. A lot of drivers, they're hesitant in traveling up there due to the fact that there are tolls. And if there are toll roads that the driver has to pass through, it's hard to get around New York without going through a toll road. You're going to take that in consideration when you're negotiating the rate. If you're brand new, a lot of brokers are going to try to take advantage of you. So it's best that you have your map out, even if you have to go get a trucker's atlas, because a trucker's atlas is a little bit different than just a regular road map. So it's going to tell you exactly which highways that the driver is going to be traveling on. Most important, as we have touched on, hours of service. When a carrier does do his pre-trip, he only is able to drive 14 hours of driving window and 10-hour daily required shutdown. So you might need to keep up, especially with your brand new drivers, on their hours of service. You need to be mindful and make sure that they are adhering or complying to this rule. What do we say about weather? That's basically it.
Always consider weather.
Always. Always. All different seasons, you have to take that in consideration. So, any questions?
You want to consider the weather of not just the state that you're leaving out of, but the states that you're driving through and the state that you're delivering to. You have to consider all of that. Let me give you an example of trip planning. So let's say I have a load in a 53-foot dry van leaving out of Atlanta, Georgia today at 6 p.m. They want the driver there to pick it up. The driver's there at 6 o'clock. They're loaded by 7. So by 7:30, they're on the road. But the thing is, or the problem is, the receiver wants the item delivered the next day at 8 a.m. As a dispatcher, you're going to get the information from the broker and you're going to say, okay, pick up at 6 p.m. They want to deliver at 8 a.m. You're going to factor in that 14-hour driving window. You're going to factor in if that driver did any driving prior to that 6 p.m. pickup. And then you're going to know up front if they're going to be able to make that 8 a.m. delivery. Looking at that 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. right off rip, I know that's not going to be possible. I know from Atlanta, Georgia to Detroit, Michigan, it's going to take a little over 10 hours. Plus construction in Ohio, 75 always has traffic. So I would immediately let the broker know that 8 a.m. delivery is unreasonable and we will not be able to meet that. And I would renegotiate a delivery time because I know my driver's not going to be there at 8 a.m. So you want to always consider those things. And I would never take that back to the driver to say, hey, I have a load picking up at 6 p.m. today, delivers in Michigan at 8 a.m. The driver's going to say, no, that's not going to work. So you want to always be the mouthpiece for your driver to say, nope, that's not going to work, Mr. Broker or Miss Broker. I need you to give me some better delivery hours. So just always consider everything because you never know what can happen. Road closures, constructions, tolls, anything can hinder that delivery appointment time. Any questions under trip planning or weather?
I have a question. Mm-hmm. So between the time that we actually call the broker to try to get their load for the carrier, we have to do all of this, like the trip planning and stuff like that, or should we already know this before we even call anybody for a load? We should know our where we can get a load from and go to within our time frame.
Well, you're going to know from your driver where he or she wants to go first. So then when you're looking for loads on the load board, you're going to only look in those areas, right? You're going to know if your driver has driven any hours today or if they have a fresh set of hours. If they have a fresh set, that's always good because you're starting from scratch. They have 14 hours. So you'll know going in if they have 14 hours versus 8 hours versus 6 hours, right? Then when you contact the broker off the load board, you're going to call and you're going to say, I have a driver. He's in Atlanta, Georgia. I see you have a load. What time does it pick up? Because one thing about the load board, they don't always put the pickup and delivery times on there. So you have to be ready for that. One thing you don't want to do is call the broker and say, oh, let me call you back and see if that'll work for my driver. You should know that when you call them. So what I do personally, the day before, like, so today's Thursday, I know where all my drivers are as of right now. I know what time they came on and I know what time they shut down. I know what time their clocks start back in the morning. I know who's empty and I know who has a load on the back of their trailer. So when I do my calls in the morning, okay, Joe is empty. Joe has a fresh set of hours. Joe is in Kansas. He's trying to get back to Chicago, Illinois. So I already know going in what I need to do for Joe. And then it may take me 2 days to get him back here, but I can definitely get him back here as long as I know how many hours of service he has available.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And it is a lot. I won't lie to you. When I first started, I think I pulled out all my hair because it's a lot to know. It's a lot to understand. Yes. And I literally had nobody but Angela to go to because I didn't know anyone else who owned a trucking company. I didn't know what to do. My husband had this bright idea of starting a trucking company. And he's like, I need you to dispatch for me. I'm like, sure, I can dispatch. I had absolutely no idea what dispatching meant. And I had to start Googling everything and writing down everything. And I had 2 binders by the time I was done of stuff where I had taken notes like, okay, I have to do this. Oh, I have to remember to do this. And sometimes I miss things. And sometimes I book things wrong, but you learn from it. So you'll get it. And then like now a driver can call me and say, oh, I need to be in Atlanta by Friday at 6 o'clock. I can go back and I can route them from wherever they're at all the way back to Atlanta and make sure that they get here by 6 o'clock. But again, it takes time, but you'll definitely get it. And if you get stuck, you'll have Angela and my contact information and you can reach out to us.